welcome to a news video here on the channel. Last time I've been talking about Barcelona getting their contract extension alternating with Belgium, and the results of that part with MotoGP in Adelaide, which I'm still pretty mad at. But we do have some good news in the world of Formula One. Of course, cars are still controversial this year with super clipping, energy harvesting, taking hold over actual racing, it looks like. But we finally know what that 24th race in Formula One is going to be. Starting in 2027, a new 5-year agreement has been reached in Turkey. Of course, to some, Turkey might sound like a random country. No one really knows much about it. But Istanbul Park, at least in my opinion, is a very fun track to drive on. There's plenty of challenges, good overtaking spots, and when the COVID pandemic happened and we had to bring on Turkey as a replacement for 2020, it did bring on one of the best races that year. 2021, not so much, but every track is probably going to have a boring race. Even most entertaining ones, it's bound to happen at some point. The track did host the Turkish Grand Prix from 2005 to 2011. So, judging 2011 to 2020, that's 8 straight years, 2012 to 2019, where they didn't have a race in Turkey. Then, of course, we had a couple races in 2020 and 2021. Another 5-year gap, and Turkey is back on the calendar. And we actually have a very fun track for once taking hold. Of course, with the Dutch Grand Prix being gone, I am glad to see the Algarve International Circuit in Portugal take over. That's also a fun track. So maybe F1 is somewhat listening when it comes to adding on certain tracks to the schedule. But some bids are actually still being talked about even after the 2027 schedule is now filled. One of the main ones I've been talking about before is, of course, the F1 bid in Incheon, South Korea. But even though 2027 is going to have a full schedule, 2028 is still in the works, at least according to Incheon themselves. Being reported by the Korea Herald, Incheon plans on securing about $540 million worth of private funds, which in Korean dollars it would be 800 billion won. And rather than the heart of the Sangdo International City, which of course has their own central park and a bunch of hotels and big rise buildings, it's actually going to be hosted right next to the city in Dalbit Festival Park, where once again they still have some, I guess, pretty good roads with good width, some decent overtaking spots if you make the street circuit right. And with some open land around there, maybe they can even put in some permanent sections or just some roads to better suit Formula One racing there. And the circuit would feature 15 corners and be 4.96 kilometers in length. I don't actually have a calculation for miles, I'm sorry. Even though they did have delays in the feasibility study and there wasn't much to report on for that, I'm at least glad they're actually having a plan now. I think, again, if they use the right roads, make the turns sharp enough to where they can encourage overtaking and have some really good spectator spots in front of the hotels, this could be actually a very fun race. And combine that with this year's regulations. I know they're very controversial. Overtakes look very artificial. Super clipping is still a problem, which we're trying to fix for the next race in Miami this weekend. But you can't deny it's brought about entertaining racing. And not to mention, Formula One has kind of had that problem with overtaking in the past, even its golden age, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Overtaking, dirty air, it's always been a problem. A lot of the races didn't have that much overtakings anyway. So when the fans started complaining enough that we're still not getting enough overtakes, even with the invention of DRS and a whole bunch of different cars throughout the 2010s and 2020s, FIA finally said, okay, we're going to make drastic changes. They're going to be more drastic than ever. We better not see any complaints, and of course we are. I'm not saying that they actually said that, but we have entertaining races at even tracks we wouldn't think have entertaining racing. Like Shanghai, for example, that race this year was actually good. I'll give them that. I can't imagine how these regulations will actually hold at Monaco. That's an interesting one. I hope you all pay attention to. If the regulations are as good as they are, don't take my word for it, but maybe we'll have a decent race in Monaco to watch. But back to Incheon itself, they are planning for 2028 to be the goal year, if you will. Try to put in a race that year. Only thing is, I don't see any tracks that would actually be leaving the calendar in order for it to be implemented in 2028, but maybe there will be one in the near future. Sky Sports released this, which shows how long certain races are in terms of contract length and which ones will be expiring the soonest. So Las Vegas will be expiring at the end of 2027. I'm surprised that they keep giving them short-term deals, even though the race is now like one of the most hyped up on the schedule, and the racing actually seems to be quite good there, despite what belief was going to be. And with how much they poured into the race, I just don't see it going away. I think they will definitely get an extension. Mexico expiring in 2028. I think with Sergio Perez coming back to the grid thanks to Cadillac, I don't see them going away either. I know the track hasn't produced much racing as of late, but when it comes to trying to appeal to the Central American market, I think they gotta have it. The Portuguese Grand Prix ending in 2028, with how they've brought back the track for 2027, I don't see them getting rid of a race that quickly. Like, there's no way they'd actually want to do that to Portugal. And then Singapore Grand Prix, of course, it's a rich nation, definitely one of the more popular over in Asia, but I hate the track. It's narrow, basically nowhere to pass. It's very boring. I just don't like the Marina Bay Street Circuit at all. I think if you want to have a good street race in Asia, maybe it's better to give Incheon a chance. Like, seriously, Singapore, no matter where it is on the track, no matter what the straight they're using, it's like impossible to pass. But with the country, of course, being one of the richest, one of the most popular, I'm expecting they're going to give a crap ton of money to Liberty Media and Formula One to keep the track on, and of course that hurts Incheon's chances even more. As for these next races, I don't see them going away at all either. Japan, you basically gotta have. Maybe the racing isn't the best, but Japan is definitely one of the most passionate countries in terms of racing. Abu Dhabi, we know they're just going to give a crap ton of oil money to Formula One, no matter how bad the track is. Azerbaijan, it's an actually fun circuit. I definitely think they're going to stick around, and I actually would like to see it stick around. China, I don't know how much good the racing will be in the future years. I know the new regulations are a lot more entertaining, but only time will tell. Brazil, you basically gotta have them. It's a very historic circuit, Interlagos. Saudi Arabia, again, don't like the track, but again, oil money talks. But there you have it. Turkey is back on the calendar. Excited to see that. We'll see in the future if Incheon can actually hold its ground and get onto the F1 calendar somehow. So thank you all for sticking around. If you want to see more F1 news videos in the future, please like and subscribe. It'll mean a lot to the channel. See you all another time.